No, he said that was fun exercise. He used past tense. Yeah. That was fun.
He did make it sound like, I know you got another 10 tracks to drop. He made it sound like he was getting ready to find his exit.
And then the other part, I'm too good for this. Yeah. You know, you wasn't too good for that when you dropped push-ups and you was out here wilding out. You wasn't too good. But now that old boy came back wilding, you too good?
All right, just a question. Just a question, though.
That's not how this works. Okay, it's a lot of giggling, a lot of laughing on the set, because we about to get into it on Rap Life Review. We got someone in LA. We're here in New York. We have 2 individuals on this show. I spent 25 years of my life on the West Coast and 25 years of my life on the East Coast. We got 2 people that have only spent time on the East Coast, and we got somebody living on the West Coast right now and grew up out there. This is probably the most balanced panel discussing what's going on with Kendrick and Drake.
Wait a minute. What does the East Coast have to do with anything like this being balanced? None of us are from Toronto. That would have actually been the balance part.
None.
But we'll
Toronto,
get to
New
that.
York.
Not the same.
It's not the same, but we will get to why I said that in a second.
Sorry.
I would love to hear
Carry
that.
on.
Yeah.
First, I want to talk about the facts that are in the songs, okay?
Right.
The allegations, because there's a lot of them. Many of which none of us can substantiate. Is that an important measurement to whether or not someone is doing a great job in this battle or not? And I'm gonna start with you, Eddie, because I kind of want to get consensus on this. Do the facts matter in this battle?
To a degree. If you can come with facts, the facts sting more. If we can find out what you're saying is true, these allegations, we're like, oh, he got him. Is it the end all be all? Not necessarily, because 30 years ago, Pac started off a song, that's why, you fat mother, and we still to this day don't know if it's true, but none of us care, because that's how Hit 'Em Up started, and we just rocked with it.
The thing about this battle is there are serious allegations being thrown on the table. Let's start there when we talk about facts. You know, Kendrick has been doubling down on the pedophilia allegations,
which is an internet claim that has been circulating for a while.
Drake has been doubling down on Kendrick being, an abuser.
An abuser, and Dave Free being the father of one of Kendrick's children.
So with those particular nuggets, facts do matter. So we have to figure out, like, are you saying that just to shake the table? Are you saying that because you have receipts?
So, but the reason I wanted to establish this is because I wanted us at least to try to find some consensus today. We don't know where the battle's going right now where we have this conversation. The last thing we got was Drake's installment, which is The Heart Part 6, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But either we're saying we either have to take the facts as we know them today in the songs, the allegations as they matter, or we're gonna remove them and say it doesn't matter whether they're true or false. Who made them the most believable is what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Right? Because we can't prove them today while we're having this conversation.
Right.
They will either come out later on,
right,
and people will be like, ooh, that changes things, or they won't. So, Nadeska, do you think facts matter today?
I usually love some facts, but I feel like in this beef, it's definitely a gray area. Especially with Drake then coming out to say that he allegedly planted the story that Kendrick found and he ran with. So even if they are facts, we don't know who's manipulating them. And so now it's too confusing. It's like you said, we can't substantiate, we can't verify anything. So I feel like
we got to take everything at face value.
Right.
So we take everything at face value, which then takes us to, I think, the piece of the discussion which is the most important, which is who has the momentum right now and who has captured the culture's interest and emotion and eyeballs in this and ear holes in this moment.
They both have, like, and I give Drake a lot of shit, but he's like we were talking about earlier, like he's rapping. Like I'm surprised about the output. I'm surprised about the timing. I'm surprised about how fast he's reacting to all this shit. But when you look at Kendrick has stepped on everything that he's dropped, right? Like when we got Family Matters.
You're saying that's good? You're saying that's bad?
He's outwitting and outsmarting Drake.
Okay, so let's hold that thought.
It's no question it's Kendrick. Like, if we're just going to answer your question and not be all political about it, it's 100% Kendrick partially because of what Lowkey's saying. Every time Drake's had a moment, and don't get it twisted, the Drake songs up until The Heart Part 6 have all been really good.
Yeah.
Push-ups, oh
Fire.
my God, fire.
Yep.
But then what happens? Euphoria, Taylor Made comes out, Misstep, and we'll talk about Missteps.
No, we don't got to talk about that. That was a misstep. We don't got to talk about that.
Misstep, Euphoria drops, and it's like, and then 616 and they're like, Family Matters was supposed to be his like knockout blow. He gave us a little video with it. You're like, okay. And honestly,
Meet the Grams came through and stepped on that.
Bro didn't even have an hour to sit on it. And regardless,
it was 20 minutes.
Regardless if the accusations were true or not in Meet the Grams, the reality is the conversation was taken away from Drake. And then the next day to drop Not Like Us, not only a scathing diss record, but also a club banger. Now it doesn't even matter what's true because people are in the club screaming, A minor!
Oh, V-ho!
And once the jokes have turned, and that's the battle Drake is supposed to win. Drake is supposed to win the
meme
wars.
battle.
He's supposed to win the funny.
He was maybe a little bit too confident going into that, right? Because when he dropped, was it the tailor-made freestyle? He had that whole bit on the end.
Threw him off.
You better have the quintuplet
Kendrick was like, oh, you want octagonical entendres? Got you, bitch.
Exactly. It's like he took the Drake playbook and is trying to destroy him with it. But I wonder if Drake really didn't anticipate that Kendrick had that many tracks ready. That's my question for him.
No, he didn't.
He really thought he was gonna like spend a month, because it was almost a month. He took too long, I felt like, to drop the first one. So he must have thought, oh man, he's gonna drop one, and then I can just kill him because it's gonna take weeks to drop another one.
I'm looking at it like Taylor Made threw him off. Taylor Made, that misstep kind of like gave him a stutter step, right?
Because you're talking about Drake through Drake.
Yeah, Drake, yeah.
Well, because in Taylor Made, not only did you play with something sensitive, which was
the
Tupac,
AI.
and the AI, but you also begged. And
you brought it on yourself.
You got thirsty, like, yo, where you at, fam? Where you at?
But I feel like that was the right energy in that time, because
it
took a minute.
But you also weren't really understanding your opponent. You weren't giving your opponent really the respect that probably he deserved, because what seems clear to me is the reason why it took, 15 days for Kendrick to respond?
He was doing all this.
Was because he was setting up a complete dismantling of your brand,
your personality, your team.
And I'm gonna say something that I don't think a lot of people have discussed, and this is important. One thing about hip hop is it's regional.
Yeah.
Geography is important. The map and the areas you own, when it comes time for somebody to take your head off, is very important in this game. It always has been. What's yours? Jay-Z, Brooklyn, Nas, Queens, Pac, West Coast, Biggie, Brooklyn. Like, you think about all Meek Mill, Philly's mine. Like, these are mine. You can't even fuck with me in my town. When Kendrick dropped They Not Like Us, bro is basically saying, A, I'm from Compton. Like, I'm from this. I don't even make these type of records. Never even made one of these before. B, I'm going to own my zone. Literally, I'm going to provide my backyard where I live, where my family's cousins, where I went to school, with a soundtrack for this beef right here.
Defending my home
I'm gonna put a flag down to defend my home turf. And on the same song, I'm gonna ridicule you about co-opting Atlanta into your shit.
That was the most important part.
So now you can't even go ask them for a sound. And by the way, bro, what is your sound? What is yours? What do you own? Is what Kendrick, I feel, is asking on his song, because this is what I own.
Can I be honest with you? I feel like Drake's biggest lyrical misstep in this whole battle was the line about you always acting like we're about to free the slaves. Like, knowing, I feel like the one thing, Ebro says it all the time, that you feel like he's never stood for anything. The one thing we could get at Drake for as much music as he's given black culture, he's never stood on anything like that. For him to have the balls to say that was crazy. You walk straight into that verse being called a colonizer, that was nuts. To me, that was his biggest fumble in this whole thing. The AI shit, the Pac shit, I know y'all were really upset about it. I wasn't that pressed.
That's what I said.
To me, this was the biggest misstep he's made so far.
Well, that was his first misstep.
He had multiple missteps. I'll break them all down. But I want to follow what Ebro was saying. And making this regional, and I'm in LA, and I never want to speak for LA. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm not an LA native. I live in LA. And when I say I live in LA, I live in a mix. I'm not going to say where I live, but I live in LA. And what I will say is, for the first time in a while, and I've had conversations with other LA homegrown people, he unified this city.
Yeah, of course.
Like, Kendrick, people are running. Bro, it's like the Lakers won another championship. You hear it in people's cars. You see people doing it in the clubs. LA ain't been unified to this degree in a long time. So now, because to what was happening, there was a lot of conversations that were going on that seemed real anti-LA. Like real anti-California to a degree, and people took notice. And the little thing that he did also by not only having Mustard on the beat, then now Mustard's putting a stamp on it like, nah, this is West Coast. Vince Staples, who had some other comments, now he's coming back around like, you know what? No, let's get Shea Gildish and Alexander up out of here. He's taking the rest in peace, Draco the Ruler, to flow, like somebody that was really entrenched in this LA lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like this real California even a bar where he was like, your last show's gonna be in Oakland. This became like a California, like people are putting this on their chest. And now Drake, you playing a dangerous game because like you were saying, yeah, you have Toronto. Toronto's yours. The rest of the spot, I don't know, bro. And I'm gonna be honest with you. And shout out to Toronto. You need LA more than you need Toronto, fam. Period.
Yeah,
you live out here.
Listen, I'm not gonna get. I see what you're saying. Listen, I see what you're saying. I just want to stay strategically when you're playing chess in this rap shit. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a home base, and by the way, not even in a battle. This is for artists out there when you get really, really, really popular. Drake has a home base. Toronto's his home.
Yeah.
Kendrick has a home base. Compton's his home. California's his home.
Yeah.
He's got a whole region that's his.
Right.
Future, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah.
And when you get into a battle, it becomes even more important. The thing that never really got developed here by the great, Aubrey Drake Graham, is what is Toronto's hip hop sound? What is that? Because we know New York has one. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we've begged for a long time for Drake to make, why you ain't linked up with Primo, bro? Why you ain't linked up and did like one of these like real rap records? Like,
well, we know why.
No, we know why, but now it's evident what's missing in your back pocket, in your tool belt. Because if Drake had really made sure he protected his hip hop base and his core, which is why I established the East Coast, West Coast thing in the beginning, if Drake had been like, the Northeast is mine, Toronto, Detroit, New York, Philly, and I'm gonna tap in with all of these artists and make sure that this is my zone, he wouldn't have the problem that he's presented with now that Kendrick has dropped They Not Like Us, because it's problematic. They Not Like Us is problematic for Drake, which is why the Heart Part 6 sounds the way it does. He sounds like he has a problem that he needs to fix. He is basically on the record like, no, wait, time out. He's telling lies about me. That's not fair. That's what's happening on the Heart Part 6,
no,
bro.
On the Heart Part 6, I don't think he's waving the white flag. I don't think he sounds depressed or upset. I think he's just saying, like, until you're going to prove something, then...
But that applies to Drake, too.
No, like, I get it, but that's what he's implying that on that record.
So
he's not tapping out.
So now we're saying... But he said, quote...
He said at the end he's basically done or something.
No, he said, that was fun exercise. He used past tense. Yeah. That was fun.
He did make it sound like, I know you got another 10 tracks to drop. He made it sound like he was getting ready to find his exit.
And then the other part, I'm too good for this. Yeah. You wasn't too good for that when you dropped push-ups and you was out here wilding out. You wasn't too good. But now that old boy came back wilding, you too good?
All right, just a question. Just a question, though.
That's not how this works.
Just a question to play devil's advocate. We know Not Like Us is hitting on the West Coast.
Right.
But for a wider audience, like...
They don't give a fuck.
I guess... What?
Like a wider audience?
If we're talking, so boom, if you want to do that today.
No.
Right now, today.
It's the number one song in Apple Music as of the moment
Euphoria was still number one.
Right now, it's number one, and Euphoria is like number 2.
Right.
So yes, people care. It ain't just us streaming it.
I didn't just say it's just the West Coast that care. I'm just saying to everybody else globally who's tuning into, like, I have people who have never heard a Drake and a Kendrick song, and I get it. We're talking about core rap fans, but like you said, excellent marketing for hip hop and for the culture, right? There's so many people tuning in. I'm just wondering, although that's a big hit and it unified the West Coast, how that plays out in the larger conversation. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. Don't turn up on me.
No. We're not doing that. We're just saying like to drop a regional specific sounding record.
Yeah, it's something Drake just can't do.
And you gotta realize,
Gotcha.
But hold on, Eddie. That is Kendrick's indictment of Drake this whole time. Is that
you don't have an identity, you don't have a sound, you don't have a home base, you don't have a region where you can collect the sound, you can cultivate a sound, you can collaborate with a sound and present it to the world.
And furthermore, you're black and you're not even in touch with what black people are really sensitive about. You don't stand for, which is why you brought up the slave shit.
Right.
Or when I talked about the Pac shit, I was like, yo, why you playing with Pac, bro? You're not from that. Like I said earlier, I was like, yo, that could be problematic for you, bro. Like, don't play with Pac like that. Now you playing with the slave shit?
That was a lot.
Oh, by the way, this went over a lot of people's head. You got your white mom opening up a record saying, hey, I think you shouldn't use the right after that. What, bro?
Because it goes into, there's so many missteps in this. We already talked about the AI Pac thing, and we keep saying AI Pac like there wasn't an AI Snoop as well. So that's weird.
AI period.
Yeah. There's a slave line, which is weird. And then also, too, don't forget in 2020, All Right was literally the protest song. Like, Kendrick had the protest song of 2020. So to, like, knock that by saying you're making slave music, then you go in, he had the line who we talked about, you probably hate pedophiles because you were molested, or whatever the line was, in Mother, I'm Sober.
But that's not even what the song's about.
He's saying he wasn't molested, so you misconstrued that. And also, that was weird already on its own. Like, let's say that was true. That's a weird conversation. Then the line, if I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd be arrested. That's Drake's quote. Weird. Like, that's weird, and that's not how the justice system works. And then also, weird, the Millie Bobby Brown just bringing her into it when no one said her name. Like, Drake has a lot of missteps in all of this, where you're like, bro, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
I think there's some good moments in this from Drake, but I think what's happening is we're seeing that he's never been a part of an opponent like this.
Of course, there is no opponent like this.
Yeah, so like there are a lot of things that he has to take in stride. There are a lot of things that he has to like really try to calculate, and because Kendrick is moving at his own pace but faster, Drake is just like kind of fumbling everything.
Well, he changed the rules on
I want to, and the other thing I think is important to establish here, reestablish, Drake dropped fire in this.
That's not the discussion.
Nobody, and I want to make sure we're not acting as if Drake didn't drop fire.
That is not the discussion. That man has.
I'm trying to go a level deeper into the actual game that's being played.
Right.
And the other thing I think is important for all of us that love this hip hop shit. When in your lifetime of social media have you seen individuals trying to decipher rap clues and lyrics?
We've never seen this.
Not like this. Not on this level.
That is a different metric that because of Kendrick and bro, 616 to LA dropped and people was like, yo, he's talking about Corinthians in the Bible.
Yo,
it's Father's Day.
Wait, no, OJ trial started.
All right, well, let's not act like that was not, like, those aren't coincidences.
No. But that's the point.
Yeah, just the fact that people are putting that much time.
I don't know, what's he called? People call him the boogeyman.
Yeah.
He had people going levels to try to figure out what he was talking about. Like, that in itself is remarkable. Mm-hmm. And yes, it is inspired by Drake.
Like, yeah, we have to thank Drake for doing this. We have to
thank Drake and what he represents that inspired this moment for us to even have this recalibration in hip hop. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a full reset.
Yeah.
If you rap and think you want to be one of the greatest.
You better
You
pay-
have to study this moment.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be like a swag rapper and be throwing around like you one of the greatest. You will have had to be measured against this and this level of rhyming and strategy and thoughtfulness to even ever in your life be mentioned in this conversation.
It's like if this moment presents itself to you, can you do this or higher? Can we talk about this? Can you? No, we're just like he's talking about like just like how what hip hop looks like right now and how artists.
Yeah.
Can you do this? Like in 48 hours, can you give me 4 or 5 hot tracks?
But that's
not even
what
that.
Made this,
but can you give me this level of thoughtfulness? Even if people will say, "Oh, the picture was planted," or the 11-year-old daughter was planted, fine. But the fact that someone said, "You know what? I'm gonna unveil this picture in a series of moments." Not only that, I'm gonna introduce said 11-year-old to her grandmother and grandfather and the rest of the world via a letter a la Stan from Eminem. Like,
that's what this beef did. It changed the rules of engagement with rap beef. Usually what we had was
and it changed the rules of expectation of what a great MC is.
So usually we have, you have song, then a song comes, song, then a song comes. The thing that Drake wins this in any other situation. Like what Drake was dropping was heaters. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know if Meet the Grams was better than Family Matters.
It was the moment. It was the moment.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, it took all the power away from this song because we were like, wait a minute, 20 minutes later, he has this whole nother song.
Well, actually,
what's going on?
I do think Meet the Grams is better than Family Matters.
Let me recant that. Let me hang on.
I'm not done, but go ahead. I'm not done.
Go ahead. You finish what you're doing.
Okay, but what I compare this to is like, so with the rules of engagement, rules of war, like a long time ago at some point, like people like in ancient Africa, and the metaphor is better than the actual facts, but this actually happened. They used to have like wars by dancing and stuff, right? Like they would come to war, be like, all right,
drumming
cool,
and
we're gonna
dancing.
dance. And they would have a dance off basically. Well, at some point someone says, nah, this ain't no dance off no more. We are killing people to win wars. And that's what Kendrick implemented. It was like, what? We're supposed to go song for song. This is how this is engaged. And Kendrick was like, no. I have a whole army of songs ready for you. And not only do I have an army of songs ready, I'm willing to change it because don't get it twisted. Not Like Us was a direct reply to Family Matters. He said Family Matters in the song. So you're like, wait a minute. You just made a song in a day, basically, to come back at me. We've never seen this before on this level.
Well, I think to add to that too, and I think this is important, it also establishes that one of these individuals cares more deeply, which is why he has disdain for the other. The reason Kendrick doesn't like Drake is beyond just, I don't like you as a person, which he said that too.
Plenty of times.
He
Plenty of
doesn't
times.
He doesn't like what Drake represents in hip hop.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that this individual basically is not authentic, doesn't represent anything of value to black heritage and black culture, isn't in touch with his blackness enough. And that is a lot. He spent a lot of time on that. And I think that is also an important detail because hip hop, as we know it today, while yes, it is about having a good time and joy and all this, hip hop is an extension of the black nationalist movement. Make no question about it. It is a tool to share information and educate ourselves when the establishment doesn't do so. And also to make sure that we are represented towards each other and for each other. Like that's a part of what the hip hop thing is and the basis of it. And while it's gone much more mainstream than that, and it's become other things and offshoots and tangents, etc. Kendrick is rooted in that in 2024. That's a powerful statement that I don't think your mainstream pop hip hop fan will give a fuck, or your hookah smoking club, ass clapping IG thought gives a fuck about. But it's important to someone like myself because this hip hop shit saved a lot of our lives and actually taught us a lot of shit, not only about ourselves, but about social dynamics, the country and where we come from. Go ahead, Ed.
So I'm going to flip this a little bit because I think this is an important conversation and I wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. And then every now and then someone will come up online and be like, well, what's the difference between him and J. Cole? and both having mixed heritage, both being biracial. Ebro, you are someone that is biracial as well.
There's no such thing as biracial. I mean, that's a different conversation for a different day. I know people throw that word around, but race is a social construct based on your appearance. So you can't have two appearances, bro. You have one appearance.
Okay, so you're mixed. Can I
so
say
you
that?
Could be mixed.
Which word am I supposed to say?
You could be multi-ethnic, multicultural.
Okay.
You could be mixed. All of those things apply.
Okay, so you being a mixed person, explain to people from your perspective the difference in between how Drake does it in this hip hop space as opposed to somebody like yourself or J. Cole. Just explain that to people so they don't come in here.
Well, he don't rap.
A conversation is not.
Well, I think
but you're in this hip hop space.
But he don't rap.
No, I don't rap, but I think what he's asking is, J. Cole spends his time doing commentary about society and about his community and the places he comes from, which is
the issues within our
the
culture.
black heritage part of hip hop.
Yeah.
And so J. Cole is in touch with that and understands the importance of that. One of the issues that I think even the OVO team has had was the Childish Gambino thing when I was up here talking about, yo, bro, don't shit on This Is America, bro. Like, I don't like that because you don't ever have anything to say. Right? Which is, once again, the indictment of Kendrick. Kendrick is not saying Drake is not black. Kendrick is saying you only act black when it's time for you to use blackness to make money. When it comes to any other black issues or black anything, we don't see you. That's all he's saying. He's not saying Drake ain't black. He's calling into question the cultural elements of blackness, not the racial elements of blackness. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between race and culture and ethnicity and nationality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's that dynamic and that conversation.
That's
right?
the scope that Kendrick is looking through when he looks at Drake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, that whole, and it plays itself out even more, and we'll go back to it. You playing with the slave shit. Cole would never play with no shit like that.
Not at all.
Also, arguing over the use of the N-word is not something that black people who know blackness argue about. It's not something you argue about. If someone's like, yo, I don't want to hear you say the N-word no more, most people go,
shut up.
Or they go, I
stop.
understand why that offends you.
Okay, cool, I got
right?
it.
Like, because that's a word that not all black people, and if you're not black, you may not know this, not all black people like the N-word, bro. If you live in a certain household, you're not just using the N-word in the house, it's not a thing. Hip-hop is some street thing, and people use it as a curse word, just like they use motherfucker and all type of other shit in them records.
Right.
So not being in touch with that and feeling like, oh, I'm gonna put my white mom at the beginning of the record saying, hey, son, you probably shouldn't use whatever she says, and the first word out of his mouth is bruh, why are you doing that? And why do you think that's something to play with?
It's not.
I didn't even, Eddie, and I ain't really fucking with you either because I didn't even want to go here today. I wanted to focus on the records and the strategy.
This
is part of the conversation.
It's part of the conversation, but goddamn, like, why did it turn into this? Like, I get it. There are conversations that have to be had, just like Ebro was saying, like, through hip hop, understanding the culture, understanding like where this comes from. I get it, but it's deviating. It deviates from
just the battle.
Just the battle. Like, these are two great conversations to have.
But it is what the reason Eddie's bringing it up.
I
is because it is a learning opportunity for individuals who love hip hop and think that they really know what this shit is because they listen to it.
But they aren't it.
But you're not in the community or from the community from which this evolved from.
Yeah.
So there's tenets and heritage that you might not quite understand or think you can disregard for your own convenience. Because I'm a hip hop fan. I've been listening to rap my whole life. It's a little different. It's a little deeper than that.
It's way different than that.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that Drake has got himself into that little scenario. And maybe, it's a learning opportunity for him even. Hopefully we see some of his future records, he can admit that he learned.
Drake isn't learning shit from any of this.
No, that's not happening.
Bro,
that's not happening.
He's just getting pettier and pettier. He's not getting a goddamn
too much credit. This man gonna go.
J. Cole came out and was like, yo, forgive me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
Father,
him.
I have sinned. This is not who I want to be. Maybe we see a Drake verse one day where he's like, listen,
Ebro.
I wasn't, and thank you, Kendrick, for, no?
Ebro.
That's all right.
No. Just like, this
man's not here to learn a damn thing.
Drake,
when the smoke clears, Drake is gonna be okay. Kendrick
be
is
fine.
gonna
Nobody's
they'll be
worried about
fine.
it.
He's gonna be
All right.
fine.
Now, and what now? Now, I'm glad you guys went here. Now, hang on now.
All right.
Hang on.
Are we about to take scores?
Nope.
No, not yet.
Can Drake put out a record with an artist from Atlanta and people ain't gonna look at it funny?
I think whatever move he makes, people will look at it funny, but in the
But
big
it might
scheme
still
of
top the
things,
charts.
Can Drake?
people aren't gonna care.
Wait.
Drake can do it. No, Drake can do it.
Hang on. Can Drake
Yes.
jump on
Yes.
the newest, hottest artist coming out of wherever? Just
Yes.
jump on it.
Yes.
And nobody's gonna look at it funny.
Listen, a couple of people are going to look at it funny, but guess what? It's probably still going to go to number one. Because
Right.
as I was trying to point out, there's so many people tuned into this who are Drake fans who do not give a fuck about the
But see, this chart position ain't. That's not what's happening.
What's the question? You said, are people going to look at it funny? I said yes.
Yes.
Some people will.
Yes.
But it's not going to really stop him being successful. That's the thing.
You know where his zone is? Drake's zone is on the charts.
Well,
That's his zone. And there's
That
people
is his
that
territory.
love.
But
There are people
if
that
that
are,
was just the case, y'all, he wouldn't as often make street records just for the streets.
Right.
He does that because the streets in this hip hop shit means something. The streets and the community, where this stuff comes from, the language you're using, the slang you're using, the I don't know, the affiliations to individuals who live a lifestyle that is nefarious. Those affiliations, they mean something to your credibility. And what I'm saying is, I believe that Drake has to think more carefully about making those moves now because it's been exposed. That's all I'm saying.
But at the end of the day, there's a sector in the world, there's a sector in his head that knows that whatever I do moving forward will still be accepted. Even if I lose, even if I back out, even if I get terminated, even if I get everything happens to me, I get dismantled by Kendrick. He knows moving forward, I can go to Atlanta and pick up the new street art, wherever the case is. I can go anywhere in this country and find another new artist and jump on that record and then go to number one.
So let
and
me
he
ask
will
y'all
be
this.
fine. Like, this is not gonna bother his movement.
Did you guys notice recently Up Next artist Four Bats? Shout out to Four Bats. Up Next artist
I noticed
has
that,
a remix with Drake.
Yeah.
Right? He put out his EP. The Drake version's not on the EP. At some point, there's people are gonna be asking questions. Why did Drake jump on a song, an R&B song that was bubbling? Mm-hmm. And maybe it was some behind the scenes paperwork, who knows what it was. Mm-hmm. But once again, Drake went and tried to, and from what I understand, Four Bats, he's from Dallas, he's from the bottom, he's trying to figure out how, and Drake went and embraced him and took his song to higher heights. Why is it not on the EP?
I don't know.
You answered your own question. It could be behind the scenes shit. It could be,
saying it looks funny in the light.
Here's why Drake's always gonna be all right. Hip hop is about as capitalistic as imaginable, right? Drake, yes, to stay relevant as you become an older artist, they all do this. Like Jay-Z was hopping on remixes when Jeezy was young. Like this is not nothing new. Drake has mastered it in this current climate of hip hop, but the young artist is always going to be a mutually beneficial thing. So if you're a 20-year-old from, Alabama somewhere and Drake says this is charting, it's bubbling, and he wants to do a remix with you, there's not one young artist imaginable that's not going to get that Drake battery pack and be like, hell yeah, I'm about to be rich off this Drake.
Listen, I hope you're right, and I think you're right. But the way Metro Boomin and these kids is making this BBL Drizzy thing fun on the internet.
Oh my God.
That shit is hilarious. Shout out to Metro for that.
Yeah, but once again,
hilarious.
it's become, when it shifts to become cool to make fun of a rapper.
It's always been cool to
It's
make fun of
always
Drake,
been cool.
though.
Like, what,
That's
it
the
just
thing.
didn't start with it just didn't start with him.
Hasn't
We
it
made
always?
fun of Ja Rule. We
And
made
what
fun
happened
of
with his
We did.
career, though, is what I'm asking. The cats that end up getting made fun of publicly, and it becomes a reoccurring theme, that's not necessarily good for where your brand is
It's
going.
not great for the brand, but I feel like Drake's been dealing with that for a
Yeah,
long
like,
time.
he's
People
been
find
made fun
reasons
of,
to call him
yeah.
corny, to make, you know what I mean? Like
He's been made
those-
fun of for so long.
It's a bit
bro.
amplified now, but I still don't think that's going to take him down.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I
going to take
don't
much
think it's
away.
taking him down. I'm not saying
It's not taking anything
But
away.
people got selective memory too.
that
short term.
Short-term memory, right? So I guarantee you, when it's May 6, 2025, this moment will be remembered, but it's not like, yo, what happened to Drake? Or we forgot about Drake. No, like, he'll probably have another album out probably be on tour, probably have a big single. And it's just like, all right, this is a great time in hip hop history because we're seeing two gigantic, different artists compete at a very
1000%.
high fucking level
1000%.
that we've never, ever seen, ever. So we have to really, really appreciate both of them, despite Drake's approach, despite whatever is true or if is false or whatever the case is. This has not been done in this short of time. And we're not even done yet.
No, we're not done.
They're not done yet.
I'd be kind of happy if we was done at this point.
tired, Eddie?
I'm tired.
You need a break?
I'm tired too.
I'm okay with it being. I'm with you. I'm okay with it being over. I just don't think it is.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't mind if they said, all right, we're done.
Yeah, because we got it. Everything I wanted, I got it. It was the movie I needed. It was the Avengers Endgame. It was Kong versus Godzilla.
It was Jordan versus Magic. It was all of that.
It was all that. I'm appreciative, but now it's like I'm done with the alerts, man.
It was really Jordan. Jordan was Jordan versus everybody. If you think back to it.
No, it was Jordan versus Larry, Jordan versus Clyde.
Jordan versus everybody.
Jordan versus Phoenix, Jordan versus Seattle, Utah, all that shit. Yeah.
All of them. Detroit.
Yeah.
Damn.
So wait,
the Knicks.
So wait,
Jordan had it with everybody.
So is Drake Jordan?
It's
of his generation.
Should be a part of the conversation. Absolutely.
Of his generation.
Of this generation, for sure. He was Drake. The reason this is happening is because Drake took the ball and controlled it and controlled the game. And Cats was like, you're a piece of shit. I don't fuck with you no more. And now I'm going to take you out because I thought we could move together, whatever together, and now we can't. So then you had everybody coming at him. Yeah. And Kendrick had a problem with him since...
Again, this is to your earlier point. Like if you don't study this shit, and you don't understand this shit, and you don't really know why they're going at it, then sit this shit out. Because these have been going for 10 to 12 years at each other, directly at each other. And if you know their catalogs and if you know how they are, you know where they're shooting at each other.
Well, and even on a larger scope than that, just removing it from these two individuals. Mm-hmm. Nas came in with Illmatic, was on fire. One of the greatest hip-hop albums ever made on your first joint. Mm-hmm. Was claiming the crown holder. You had Big come and go, rest in peace. Hove, other people started going at Nas. When it was Hove's time to have the crown, Cats was going at Hove. When it was 50's, when it was Ja's time, you had 50. There's always in this game
the counterpart.
There's someone who's going to test.
Yep. Like this is not nothing new. No one's bullying Drake. No one is. They're not trying to like a 20 verse one.
Oh no, they're bullying Drake.
But the difference
is so well done.
You know what you want to say is people have been bullied before.
Yes. Okay.
That's what you want to say.
The difference is in this situation.
It's not the first time somebody's been bullied.
Yeah. Okay.
What you want to say?
Have y'all been wrestling with any questions about morality in this beef?
Like with regard to?
Yeah.
I like to have high standards for my humans.
Yeah.
Right? Even the ones we look up to.
It's hard to keep those standards high.
I know it is. But more and more, you started taking all these quote unquote facts at face value as of now, right? As the layers get peeled back, I want to feel like, damn, I don't fuck with this person because he sounds like an asshole, but I just have more and more respect for Drake as this goes on.
Okay.
Although I'm not picking sides in this battle. You know what I mean?
Respect because he continues to show up.
Yeah, I feel like just the way Kendrick is shitting on him, that he just keeps going, like, I'm still not picking any sides. I don't really care who wins
I know.
Morality for me...
Yeah, I have the utmost respect for Drake. Like the shit that he's, that's being, accused and being said to him. Yeah, that would have took me out. That would have been like, all right, you know what? This is going too far. This man is showing up every time Kendrick has something to say, right? And I don't give a fuck what y'all say about the last one. He don't sound defeated. He just says, all right, when you're gonna start saying shit that actually matters, I'll return the favor.
Well, not matters. That are facts.
That are facts. But yes, I do appreciate Drake
because the facts don't matter right now.
If we're really having a question about morality in music, especially in hip hop, that always gets murky. So here's how I look at it, right? I'm not gonna chast nobody into listening to what they want to listen to. I have my own bar I have for morality. There's some people I've checked out on where I'm like, ooh, it gets weird with that person. I can't listen to this music. The problem is with the arts, if you start digging too deep and you want your favorites to be good people, you're gonna start having to eliminate a lot of folks. So for me, I just look at it like a case-by-case basis. I'm not gonna stop listening to neither one of these dudes. I'm gonna listen to Drake. I'm gonna listen to Kendrick.
That's not even on the table.
Yeah.
What you do with your kids, I don't really care.
If you got kids, I don't really care.
If you got hidden kids.
If you hiding kids, I don't really care. Like,
yeah. Morality in arts gets weird. There's some people in hip hop that I don't listen to because of morality. But for the most part, case by case.
And I asked that because Kendrick presents it in the
themselves.
song. I forgot what the track is about the new trifecta. Not just being money, power, respect, but I think he throws out like morality, which got me like thinking about it. But anyway.
No, listen, I think because he's Mr. Morale.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think
it's not funny. Stop.
I mean,
it's not funny.
Thus throw it out. But I do want to rap today. And you guys, I'm sure will be leaving comments. You know, there's fans on both sides.
Oh yeah, they coming.
Drake bots.
Wait.
Hey, but
wait,
you couldn't out-mean this one.
Time out. You can't just throw out Drake bots as if it's like a common term. When the song that Drake just released was accusing Kendrick of paying bloggers and things like that.
Is that a fact?
Well, he's saying Drake bots like it's some sort of term.
Because like that's a thing. Like you see it.
Bro, we're
you
all
see it. Like I want
So you're saying that Drake is lying in the song that he just put out?
We just said we don't care about the lies. So it does not matter, bro.
So who has the momentum of the moment right now? That's where we started. I don't know if we actually finished. Eddie, you say?
No question it's Kendrick. It's not even.
Nadeska,
as
you
of today,
say?
I think Kendrick has the momentum, but Drake is not out of this yet.
And Low?
Kendrick has momentum.
I would agree that Kendrick has the momentum.
Kendrick has the
1,000%.
Yeah.
And I think thank you to Drake is appropriate here.
Yep.
Because you have motivated someone that we really wanted to have motivated, which is Kendrick Lamar.
But then you also motivated him in the wrong way.
It's all good.
It's not what you want. It is not what you want. However,
thank you for this.
We appreciate it.
But this shit backfired on you, brother.
However, we are getting great records from Kendrick Lamar. And so maybe by the time you see this, there'll be more music available. We don't know what the fuck is going on here, but this has been the Rap Life Review. Maybe not. It might be on DSPs. It might not be.
Yeah.
You might be able to stream it on Apple. We don't know. Eddie in LA, Low in Nadeska. I'm Ebro. Thanks for joining Rap Life Review.
What's good? Nadeska here. If you made it through that entire episode of the Rap Life Review, that means you're really a fan. Hit that like button so we know it's real. Subscribe if you never want to miss an episode. And of course, if you really have something to say, drop a comment and we'll hit you back on next week's episode.